Hey, Guru Nation, I know it's late, but I wanted to get this out to you before the market opens. There's a very hot stock, Aquestive Therapeutics, AQST. I've reviewed it just a few weeks ago. We've reviewed it on my other channel, the Clinical Research Circle. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you like a 3-minute clip of our technical analyst, Ashley Margot, and how she's breaking down the stocks and the potential breakout that it's going to have. Before I say anything else, this is not financial advice. This is not investment advice. This is not medical advice. But I think it's something interesting. And I actually have an interesting angle today on this stock that I forgot to mention. So, December 23rd is the FDA decision date, the pending FDA decision date for the Libervant for the seizures. So, Aquestive Therapeutics, for those that don't know, they specialize in innovative drug delivery with this thing called PharmFill, highly versatile technology to improve medicines for patients. I'm going to get into some of the stuff that they do. Take your API further. Active pharmaceutical ingredients is the API. Take your API further. So they have partnered with a bunch of companies already. Most interesting, well, the one that with the catalyst coming up, which I've covered before, is Libervant for breakthrough seizure clusters, seeking FDA approval by December 23rd. Should be they're going to seek a partner outside the United States. They also have in phase 1 for severe allergies, anaphylaxis, an epinephrine molecule. For Libervant, it's a diazepam molecule. They have interesting things happening that are already licensed. So they have the most important one, the most interesting one. I shouldn't say most important. The most interesting one is Suboxone. Why? Because I like to relate things to current events, right? Remember, the trend is your friend. If it wasn't for COVID-19 right now, there is a nasty fentanyl epidemic going on in the country. And fentanyl, for those that don't know, it's an opioid. This is an article from 2008. 2008, September 23rd. They've proposed, so they've seen secondhand exposure in physician substance abuse and addiction. While only 5.6% of licensed physicians in Florida are anesthesiologists, nearly 25% of physicians followed for substance abuse or dependence are anesthesiologists. Fentanyl and sufentanil are commonly administered highly potent opioid analgesics, as much as 80 to 100 times as potent as morphine. Just knowing that a physician abuses fentanyl gives you a good clue as to their specialty. 75% are anesthesiologists, while drug abuse researchers, oncologists, and others who handle drugs of abuse every day have no greater incidence of opioid abuse or dependence. Anesthesiologists are at the top of everyone's list. Can this be due to just access and stress? The writers have proposed an alternative hypothesis of secondhand exposure, just like secondhand smoke, to measure the intravenous anesthetic and analgesic agents in the air. Not only did we detect propofol, and fentanyl in cardiovascular surgery operating room air, we also found the highest concentrations we close to the patient's mouth where anesthesiologists work. So just like tobacco secondhand, I just thought this was interesting. This has nothing to do with the stock I'm talking about, but it's interesting to look back. Now it's 2021. There's a fentanyl outbreak. In 2008, the medical community started seeing how addictive this thing is. Today, 4 comedians over the weekend and one very famous actor died because drugs now are being laced with fentanyl. Like, you think you're buying cocaine and taking cocaine, it's laced with fentanyl. You could be overdosed. There's a huge issue right now with fentanyl in the country. I think that AQST, and there's nothing like in their company website or anything, but I think we're going to need a company. So why not be Aquestive Therapeutics? We're going to need a company to take over. And they've already done it with Suboxone. I mean, look at their pipeline. So they actually partnered with Indivior to make the oral Suboxone, the dissolvable film, with their PharmFill technology. Why do they use the film instead of the pills? I found this interesting article. to the sometimes euphoric effects of buprenorphine, typically in people not dependent on opiates, there is a desire for the illicit use of the drug. The lack of access to treatment also creates demand for diversion. Suboxone oftentimes is administered in an office setting under the supervision of a physician to limit the frequency of the misuse of the drug. The quicker dissolving time of the film is beneficial as it typically dissolves 1 minute faster than the pill. Another key difference between the film and the pill is that a partially dissolved pill can still be removed from the mouth, while the film quickly becomes unable to be removed once administered. And these are key factors preventing misuse. As more Suboxone was prescribed, the number of unintended exposures increased. Exposure to children became the most concerning as the side effects were more severe for children. The accidental exposures eventually led to the sublingual pills being discontinued in 2012, since almost all of the reported exposures were involving the pills, not the film. Each dose of the film comes in an individual child-resistant package. And not only that, 2 child-resistant trials have been conducted with this packaging, each having high passing rates. Another positive of the film is that each individual film package has its own 10-digit code, which allows for better tracking and discouraging diversion. So there's a lot of advantages. If you go on Aquestive's own website, you're going to see the technology. All right, so it's multiple routes of administration. So it's above the tongue, below the tongue, and on the cheek. In the case of epilepsy and seizure, when the jaw clenches, a caregiver can place one on the side of the cheek for the patient who's experiencing a seizure, because obviously you can't, if they're clenching their teeth, you can't put it under their tongue. Farm fill is a unique, versatile technology. There's several benefits. See, buccal, which is on the cheek, sublingual, lingual. How does the film work? Redesigning molecules for optimal product stability, formulating products for high performance drug delivery, optimal rates of dissolution, preserving the original structure, uniform distribution, maximizing transcellular and intercellular transport across the mucosa, targeted absorption. They're willing to partner with companies. All it's going to take is a company that's going to partner with Aquestive for, just like in their pipeline, just like they partnered with Indivior for Suboxone. There are companies now racing to find treatments for fentanyl addiction. It could very well be Suboxone, but it could be something even more targeted than Suboxone. And that's another opportunity for Aquestive to partner with them, because the film is superior to the pills for these kind of conditions. I mean, just look at Suboxone. The film is superior to the pills for a variety of reasons. So there's an interesting company who's already working on something similar, ChemPharm. They're already partnered with Aquestive on their ADHD drug, which I think Aquestive gets 10% royalty. They have, everybody knows who follows ChemPharm, KP875 for stimulant use disorder. And yes, you can compare this to something like fentanyl addiction, but it's still in the CNS space, and it's the team could work on ways, and I'm not saying it's going to be ChemPharm, but a company like ChemPharm, or maybe bigger, is going to find something, and it would make sense for them to partner with Aquestive, and it would behoove Aquestive to position themselves to find a partner now for this fentanyl. I hate to call it like a gold rush, but this is a huge problem. Again, if it wasn't for COVID, this would be like the only thing people are talking about is this fentanyl. It's driving cities absolutely insane. Have you been to downtown anywhere? It's just ravaged by fentanyl. So it's a huge opportunity. Aquestive is primely positioned. Again, I don't know anything about this. This is just speculation. But it wouldn't surprise me if a company comes out with something and Aquestive maybe announces, and this is beyond like Libervant and the other stuff in their pipeline. This is just more opportunities for Aquestive, even ChemPharm. ChemPharm has cash on hand. They can go after something like fentanyl fentanyl use disorder. So I thought it was something interesting. I wanted to end it with our technical analysis of AQST from the Clinical Research Circle. Our technical analyst, Ashley Margot, she's going to take it away for the next 3 minutes or so.
Okay, right. So we're looking at the 1-day chart, right? Obviously trending up. It's really good and it's clearly going, right? So, and with the 50 EMA, even though it's not fully intact with the actual candles, the trend is still moving upwards slowly, right? And then when you look at the MACD down here, which gives kind of representation of that as well, it's really really good. Something to know about like when you're looking at charts is aside from right here, you always want to go back and look at the previous patterns. And since this is the day chart, this is really not as important because these are like in and out trades, right? But as you can see in the 5 days, also very positive. And that's even with very like low activity, you know. If you look at the month, sorry, let me break it down. When there's activity, it's in the go, right? So it's still going, even though that right now there's an engulfing right here. It's still in the uptrend, so it's very much positive. But that's in the 1 month. But if you like to look at the 1 year, it's good because the MACD along with the 50 MA, it's still kind of like staying in alignment. But the thing is that's good about this is that it has a lot of different like high level points to go from right here, right here, right here, and right here, meaning that as the chart's moving right throughout the year, it has the max potential to be hitting these more higher points as it goes, right? As opposed to when you're looking at KMPH.
Yeah, so for the full video, the link to that video is underneath. Please everybody go subscribe to the Clinical Research Circle. We're trying to grow that channel. Point is, bullish chart, the technical analysis suggests, potential uptrend here, and the catalyst coming. We already know December 23rd ish is going to be the FDA decision date, but between now and then, there's going to be a lot of activity. It wouldn't surprise me. Do you guys remember when COVID came out? The biotechs, how they popped on COVID treatment, on the pills, on the various. There was inhalers. There was all kind of stuff before the vaccine came out. I think we're going to see something similar with fentanyl. I think first of all, we're going to have to see something. I don't think Suboxone is strong enough to deal with this. Somebody tell me in the comments. I don't think Suboxone, and I should get a pain and addiction medicine specialist on here, but I'm not sure if Suboxone is enough to deal with fentanyl. If fentanyl is 80 to 800 times as strong as morphine, I think fentanyl is going to require something else, a different kind of treatment. And it wouldn't surprise me because that's for opioid use disorder. So fentanyl, it's an opioid, but fentanyl is a different kind of opioid. So maybe there's going to be a different opportunity for a company similar to the one that came out with Suboxone and now the sublingual film, which they've partnered with Aquestive, to come out and for Aquestive to do a partnership with them. Aquestive does partnerships with companies all the time. They out license their farm film all the time, and they could cater it for the API, the active pharmaceutical ingredient, for any of the drugs, basically. So I think, look, I'm not saying it's going to pop because of the fentanyl thing, but it's something to think about that I haven't seen anyone dive deep on. And we all love to speculate on YouTube. I mean, that's what these channels are for. At the end of the day, besides educating and informing, it's to speculate and to say, okay, what if? But even without that, I think this is a great stock. Not financial advice, but imagine with it. I think nobody's talked about that yet. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Have a good week, everybody. Take care.